Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
This is Alex. That's bright red letters there that say Alex. And the Ramble. That's the name of the program. And it's here until midnight tonight on the East Coast of the United States. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, over there. See, that's Stephen Kravitz and Steve. Oh, well, I got to turn my lights on. I forget to turn my lights on during the day because the light is coming in from the outside. But now,
right, and I turned both my lights on because you wanted it last time.
Mm-hmm. See? Okay. Well, anyway, here we go. See how I'm not prepared for anything anymore. How you doing, Steve Kravitz?
I am doing quite well, thank you very much.
You're in Massachusetts. You're the third state from the bottom in infections, so you're doing pretty good there.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And we are fourth from the bottom, but we are increasing like crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're not going outside?
No, I guess not.
Well, I bought a new car.
Did you buy a new car?
Yes, I did.
In the adventures of Stephen Kravitz, he was living in Boulder City, Nevada, which is the place where Boulder Dam is. And it was a town that was built for the workers who were building the dam. And then when they left, people like Steve moved in. Well, it was inexpensive, right?
Right.
It was cost effective, and why not? So anyway, he then moved to Massachusetts, which is where he was from originally, and he is now residing in what city again?
Worcester.
Worcester. Worcester.
Yeah. Whatever.
People look at it and go Worcester, right?
So I bought a 2021 RAV4.
Oh yeah, you told me you were going to buy a car. Mm-hmm. And you paid cash for it?
I paid half cash for it, and I'm doing payments on the other half.
Yeah. So you get that little coupon booklet every month?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah. You know what? I was mentioning this on my other show. We had to go out and get prescription insurance and health insurance, right?
Right.
Because SAG-AFTRA screwed us over. And so we were told what they will do is they'll send us a coupon book, a booklet of coupons, and every month we pay it off. And I'm thinking to myself, that's what I did with buying a car back in 1956. You know, I mean, come on. Technology has made it so we don't have to have coupon books any longer.
Yeah, no kidding.
You just attach it to a bank account, and they take it out every month. But no, they still send coupon booklets.
No, I'm doing it the other way. I'm doing it to take it out of the account.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is, they're doing a lot of filming in Boston and in Worcester.
Oh, okay.
Like I hear Hulu is going to be here for at least 6 weeks.
Really?
So my goal is to get a local agent.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've called SAG Boston 3 times. I haven't heard back. Go figure. And I am actively pursuing a new agent and a new manager.
Good. But the fact is that you called up SAG-AFTRA and they never called you back.
That's correct.
Oh boy.
Thank God I pay my dues.
You know, SAG. Well, to begin with, let's talk about SAG because it was only a few years ago that it became SAG-AFTRA. Okay.
Right, and all that did was my dues went up.
Yeah. Now, SAG was a pretty great union when it came to things like pension and welfare and hospital and medical stuff. It was probably, I would say, the gold standard.
All right?
Yeah. And what happened was, back in 1960, in order to get their health plan and get pension and welfare going and everything, all the members of the union agreed not to take any residuals pre-1960.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that all that money would go towards paying and financing the medical. And that's what they're suing about now. Finally, Ed Asner has got a bunch of people together, and they're suing the union for the current medical situation, which you and I are part of. And they are saying, hey, you know, back then we gave up stuff in order to finance this.
Right.
You know, so for that reason alone, you can't take it away. What happened was, I'm the bad guy in all of this, because what we did is we merged with SAG. AFTRA, my union, merged with SAG, and I guess it put some kind of strain on the system because our medical plan wasn't as good.
No, and the union was not as strong.
That's right. That's right. So
now, I was a member of both SAG and AFTRA.
Yeah.
I opted out of AFTRA, and then 2 years later they merged, and they wanted to come after me for back dues for AFTRA. And I said, no, I bowed out legally. I bowed out, you know, according to protocol. Mm-hmm. And they finally dropped it. And all they did was they raised my dues. They raised my dues, almost doubled them.
Well, I'm a senior performer. I don't pay dues at all. After I think 75 or something, you know.
Is that it?
Yeah. So it just says if you live long enough and you don't die, you get your dues for free. Yeah. But I mean, but after it kind of caused the problem, part of the problem in all of this. But I don't want us to be the bad guys because, you know, SAG decided to merge. They've been thinking about merging for the last, I think, 30 years.
Right, but when they merged because AFTRA was the weaker union, and we were basically, you know, pulling AFTRA along with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and therefore, it cost all of us. So now you were primarily an AFTRA actor.
Yeah, actor, right? A performer. You know.
Right. Well, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, in case people don't know, AFTRA is the Broadcasters Union, and SAG is the Screen Actors Guild.
Right. And it depended at one point on what they shot it on. If they shot it on video, it was AFTRA. If they shot it on film, mm-hmm. It was SAG.
So if you did a TV show and it was on film, you were SAG, and if you did it on video, then it was AFTRA. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now there's no difference because obviously we're the same union.
And now you can actually buy into the union. When I joined the union, I had to have a speaking role in a union film, even though I was non-union. And then I could join the union. Now you can just buy in.
Okay. Yeah.
I got my AFTRA card doing that Dirty Harry movie.
Yeah, you were telling me that Clint Eastwood got you your card.
He got me my card.
I can't remember when I first got mine. I think it may have been in Chicago. And you know, they say if you get a job and you do more than 3 pieces of work, you have to join the union. And I didn't even wait for that. As soon as I could join the union, I joined it because I always wanted to be a member of AFTRA because it meant I was a professional.
Right, you know? Right. I joined SAG in 1983.
Yeah.
So I've been a union member for a long time.
Well, you know, I get a pension, not a lot, a little under $1,000 a month from the union.
Me too.
From the union.
Me too.
Yeah, and the reason why I get that little is because I didn't work that much under AFTRA. Let me explain. When I finally got out there, first I went to work in California in smaller markets. They didn't have a union.
Right.
Okay, if they had a union, it was usually IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Because
Really?
because we did what were called combo operations, where we operated the board and played the music and did the announcing and everything. And because
And
of
you had
that,
you had a record library.
so therefore, I was a member of IBEW for many years. I
Right.
don't know. Maybe I have a pension from IBEW. I don't know. I should check.
You should.
Yeah, but anyway, but when I finally went to AFTRA, it wasn't until I got to Chicago, because I worked Houston, and that's a right-to-work state, so there was no union.
Right.
And then I went to Chicago, and then I went to New York, and I accumulated most of my AFTRA money there.
Right.
As years have gone on, my union had not been as aggressive about signing up radio stations and so on to be AFTRA, and we've lost a lot of AFTRA stations. So the amount of, like in San Francisco when I worked at Live 105, it wasn't an AFTRA station. You know.
It was a madhouse.
Yeah, but they did. The union tried to get in there, and the people at the station voted against it. So therefore, it didn't have to be union. It was not a blacklisted station. It was a station that just wasn't a union station.
Now, let me ask you this: if it had been union,
Mm-hmm.
and when all us guys were on the show with you, would we have been paid?
That's a good question. I think you were considered guests, so therefore we didn't have to pay you.
Right. We were considered guests. We were guests.
Yeah. And there was an equity there. You got promotion. You managed to sell tickets as a result of your appearance on the show.
Oh, you kidding? Our careers exploded.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I don't think we would have to pay union. I don't think guests are paid union. Although, when somebody's a guest on something like Colbert or whatever, I think they do get a union thing. They get
yes, they do.
I don't know
Yes,
how much
they
it is now. It used to be like $300 and might be around $500 now or something.
It's minimum. Yeah.
But anyway, so I mean, I never accrued that much money under union wages. Most of it was accrued when I was in Chicago and here in New York for I'd say how many years? God, about 5 years, something like that, 10 years. And then after that, I never worked another union job except when I would do something like Comedy Tonight, which was PBS,
Right.
or whatever. If I did national things, then I that went to my AFTRA. Okay, so I never got to the point where I was able to take the union medical plan, because I never made enough money in most cases.
I had SAG's medical plan, then I lost it, then I got it again, then I lost it, and
well, what happened is when I finally got to this age, I kept getting things every year from AFTRA. Hey, why don't you sign up for the senior plan? And I went, yeah, but what's that? I don't know. I'm not eligible for it, right?
Right.
Finally, one year I said, let me send this in. I sent it in, and they go, oh, good, you can get it. And for $2,000 a year, we got a really good supplemental plan for our Medicare.
Oh, really?
It was delightful. We got dental. We got $2,500 a year dental.
Really?
Okay, we got the vision and all of that. We got the supplemental. There was a little more copay than it would be if I were paying a high price for a supplemental like I'm going to do now.
Right.
But it was definitely just a gold standard plan for seniors, and I was eligible for it just simply because I was a senior. I've been a member of the union all those years, So we got screwed,
Yeah. We both got screwed.
Yeah. And Ed Asner, it's funny. Ed Asner, who is suing the union, he and a bunch of other people, he said, I lost my medical insurance. I worked those years. I worked all those years under SAG, and I have lost my medical insurance because residuals don't count towards income now. They used to, but they don't now. And so therefore
they count when you file your taxes.
Yeah, and they also count when the union decides what they're going to charge you for your yearly dues.
That's right.
But in the case of Asner, he doesn't work now, but he lives on residuals, and he may make $50,000 a year in residuals, but because he's taking the residuals, he can't put those against the $25,000 he needs to get the. Anyway, he's suing. Okay.
When I joined the union, you had to make $7,500, and you got all your benefits.
Yeah, well, that's all changed.
No
That's
kidding.
all changed. Hey, listen, nice talking shop talk with you today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why don't we get together again next time and talk some more shop
cool.
talk? Why not? Ladies and gentlemen, with Stephen Kravitz, it's Shop Talk. Bye, Stephen.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
How? Yes. Hello, everybody. It's Alex. How are you? Let's hear it for me. Thank you very much. Okay. Before we get going tonight, I just got to play you this because it's really pathetic. You know, how much longer do we have to talk about Trump? I don't know. But I saw this, and I just said, I got to play a couple of minutes of this. It went on for 45 minutes today. And it was pre-recorded. And this is a man literally going out of his mind. Well, I'll just play it for you and see if you don't agree. He's losing it.
Thank you. This may be the most important speech I've ever made. I want to provide an update on our ongoing efforts to expose the tremendous voter fraud and irregularities which took place during the ridiculously long November 3rd elections. We used to have what was called Election Day. Now we have election days, weeks and months, and lots of bad things happened during this ridiculous period of time, especially when you have to prove almost nothing to exercise our greatest privilege, the right to vote. As president, I have no higher duty than to defend the laws and the Constitution of the United States. That is why I am determined to protect our election system, which is now under coordinated assault and siege. For months leading up to the presidential election, we were warned that we should not declare a premature victory. We were told repeatedly that it would take weeks, if not months, to determine the winner, to count the absentee ballots, and to verify the results. My opponent was told to stay away from the election. Don't campaign. We don't need you. We've got it. This election is done. In fact, they were acting like they already knew what the outcome was going to be. They had it covered, and perhaps they did, very sadly for our country. It was all very, very strange. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint a winner, even while many key states were still being counted. The constitutional process must be allowed to continue. We are going to defend the honesty of the vote by ensuring that every legal ballot is counted and that no illegal ballot is counted. This is not just about honoring the votes of 74 million Americans who voted for me. It's about ensuring that Americans can have faith in this election and in all future elections. Today, I will detail some of the shocking irregularities, abuses, and fraud that have been revealed in recent weeks. But before laying out just a small portion of the evidence we have uncovered, and we have so much evidence, I want to explain the corrupt mail-in balloting scheme that Democrats systematically put into place that allowed voting to be altered, especially in swing states, which they had to win. They just didn't know that it was going to be that tough because we were leading in every swing state by so much, far greater than they ever thought possible. While it has long been understood that the Democrat political machine engages in voter fraud from Detroit to Philadelphia to Milwaukee, Atlanta, so many other places. What changed this year was the Democrat Party's relentless push to print and mail out tens of millions of ballots sent to unknown recipients with virtually no safeguards of any kind. This allowed fraud and abuse to occur on a scale never seen before. using the pandemic as a pretext. Democrat politicians and judges drastically changed election procedures just months and in some cases weeks before the election on the 3rd of November. Very rarely were legislatures involved, and constitutionally they had to be involved. But very, very rarely, and you'll see that as we continue to file our suits, it's constitutionally absolutely incorrect what took place, even from a legal standpoint. Many states, such as Nevada and California, sent millions of live ballots to every person on their voter rolls, whether those individuals had requested ballots or not, whether they were dead or alive. They got ballots. Other states, such as Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin, instituted universal absentee balloting right in the middle of an election year, sending absentee ballot request forms to all voters on all rolls. It didn't matter who they were. This colossal expansion of mail-in voting opened the floodgates to massive fraud.
I can't take any more. I don't want to make you suffer too much longer. That is the ravings of an insane human being. He's just gone bonkers. Not that he always wasn't bonkers, but that's a case of a guy going absolutely nuts. And I saw that and I went, come on. And now that rant went on for 43 minutes. If you'd like me to, I'll play the whole thing tonight. Why not? 43 minutes of that drivel. But I let him make his case here, and until the end, I didn't interrupt it. Let's let some people in here as part of our panel that we have. Let's see here. Brian Neary is here, and let's see here. Jeff's here, and Jeff Stein, and Charlie Wallace, and Steve. Is that Steve Callis? Steve? Are you there, Steve? Because if you're not there, I never heard of you before. So have we heard it from him before? No. And who knows who it is and why he is. And he's obviously there because he clicked the button to come in. But I will just remove him, okay? It's very simple. I just go, boom, and there he goes. Okay. Hello, everybody. How are you? Wait a minute. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, I want to say something to this guy, too. How are you? Now here's the Grim Reaper, Charlie Wallace, to give us today's report.
Yeah, we had over 2,700 deaths today.
In the United States.
In the United States. Yeah.
That is the largest amount of people that have died in one day in the United States. And
headed for 3,000.
Headed for we're number one. We're number one.
Alex, when Charlie does his report each night, I think you should play taps in the background.
Either that or there's an old song I used to use when I would do my obituaries in San Francisco, and it was these are people who died. These are people who died. They were my
I remember that.
They died. Yeah. Here comes Steve Callis again. Are you there, Steve? Oh, come on, Steve. He's not there. Okay, let me get rid of him. Again, I mean, I can get rid of him all the way if I want to, and not have him be able to call back, but I don't want to do that. Anyway, so maybe I could use that theme, and we could have you do the nightly report on deaths. By the way, I got something for you, Robert. Oh, here comes that Steve Callis again. Is there any way that I can just make him?
Maybe he's not joining with audio.
He's not joining with video either.
That about covers it.
That covers the whole spectrum of what you have to have before you can actually be on this program.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I wanted to say something to Robert. I got this letter from Phil. Okay?
All
right. And he says, they closed my account at GoFundMe, and I'm unable to set up one, regardless of how I sign in. Oh, wait a minute, let me finish. Don't, let me finish. He says, I'm just going to write a check and send it off to the American Cancer Society. Robert has the right to be upset since I lost the bet. Thanks for your support last night. I wish I could have done more than just write a check. Okay? So you happy?
Hooray.
You happy?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the election was a month ago, for the love of Mike.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to get out of it.
I understand, but how did Phil become the victim in this? It was my generous offer that he not pay me and that he send the money to a charity. And somehow or other, Trump-like fashion, he turned himself into the victim in all
No,
this.
he didn't turn himself into a victim. Oh,
Hey.
there is Steve.
Oh, Steve.
Steve.
Tucker Steve.
Huh? What? Hello, Steve. Are you there? Can you hear us? He's having some kind of real problem. Are you having problems, Steve?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can
there
hear
he
you.
is.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had him on before.
Yeah, we've had him on before. Yeah, hi, Steve. Steve, can you hear us? Steve, does he do?
He's trying. This has some issues.
Well, let him see what he can do. Anyway, I don't think that was what Phil was doing. I think Phil was actually trying to do something nice
So was I.
for me. Well, yes, of course. And it was very nice of you to say, don't send me the money, send it to some, I don't even think you said the American Cancer Society, did you?
I did.
Oh,
I
you
said
did?
in Ronnie's name.
Oh, in Ronnie's name. And I
Yeah,
guess that
that
gave
was
him
my
the
idea.
impetus to say, well, maybe I can just start a GoFundMe and we can raise lots of money for the American Cancer
Oh,
Society.
yeah, you're right.
And he
but
was
having failed that.
Yeah, well, he just made good on it.
Okay, well, great. Finally, we
I mean,
don't
I
have to
assume
talk
he
about
made
it.
good on it. I don't. I think it would be insulting to him to say, send us a certified fax or PDF of your check. You know.
I've said it here before. His word is good enough for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he's not a mean guy.
No,
You
his
know.
word is good enough for me.
Yeah. I mean, I
Jeff, you got to turn your camera onto the side.
All right, it's a light.
No, your wife's in the background, and I used to listen and watch when that incident happened, and I missed that day when I heard you guys the day after. The other way.
The other way.
This-
The other
The
way.
other way.
This
Yeah.
was
I was watching when I'm in traffic. I used to watch the show, and then I missed a day, and all of a sudden I heard all this hubbub about somebody undressing in the background. So I had to go back.
What was it?
So I had to go back the next day and see what that was about.
she was taking a shower, right? And
Oh yeah, make sure your camera's all the way around so we don't.
and show you the kind of gentleman I am. I never went back and cut it out of the rerun.
Yeah. What a guy.
It was too much trouble, So
No.
Oh, watch out, she's going to sue us.
yeah. So I don't know what's happening with me. I was doing the interview with Kravitz today, and in the middle of it, I got so lightheaded I almost passed out. And then Marjorie said, "Well, did you eat today?" And I said, "No. I don't eat till mid-afternoon. Sometimes I forget to eat lunch, right? And I guess that can make you lightheaded,
Oh, sure.
But I've been
Blood sugar.
lightheaded now, and I ate a big dinner and all of that, Then I think I got a strangulated hernia, but it doesn't hurt. And they say if you have a strangulated hernia, you can't fart or take a dump, and I fart like crazy. So,
I've never had that then.
yeah.
That's how we make sure that we don't have COVID.
And Marjorie
I
says
told, told Tiffany I just keep farting, and she says, "Oh my God!" And I said, "Well, you don't have COVID."
You're good.
Marjorie
Yeah.
thinks I have deep-seated COVID depression. That I've been in so long that I'm starting to I'm starting to obsess on the hernia being strangulated and on whether I take my temperature every hour.
This
Okay?
is not good.
No, I know it's not good.
Meditation.
Huh?
A is when
Meditation. That'd be a good idea.
You know what I say about meditation? Fuck meditation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Jeff had his hand up.
by the way, do you meditate, Robert?
I do.
You do.
I do. Transcendental meditation since 1975.
You believed in that guy?
What guy? There was a.
That was Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was the guy who came up with the
He
transcendental.
actually, we learned in New York City, and he actually dropped by that day.
Oh, wow.
He was full of shit. He personally was full of shit. He was looking to bang everything, including the knotholes in a tree. But the meditation itself, actually, it works.
Yeah.
It's actually
But
very powerful.
didn't he try to jump on Mia Farrow?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
That was the song Sexy Sadie. That's what that song is about.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
the Beatles song Sexy Sadie is about their experience with him.
Oh, I see. I always found him kind of a phony. Who else I find a phony? Most of them I found a phony. You know, because I kept saying to people when they go, "Oh, the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, I'm for him, you know," and I go, "Okay, fine, you like the
It isn't
Maharishi
about
Mahesh
that.
Yogi," and then I said, "What's the difference between him and his hustling and Billy Graham and his hustling?"
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, don't throw away the technique just because the one guy was.
Well,
know,
no,
was
you're
corrupt.
right in saying that.
There's absolute benefit. I mean, it's proven, physically proven,
Yeah.
that it can lower your blood pressure. It lowered my pulse rate for sure over the course of years, and I don't fret about as much as I used
So
to back
it's-
when I was younger.
See, I don't
just
take you for being a person who meditates. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I very much am that
Yeah,
person.
yeah. So I'm very surprised at that. You know, how often do you do it? Every day?
Once a day. I on occasion I just pass a day because I'm busy or just never get the moment to myself. But for the most part, yeah, and I'm the better for it. My sleep is better. Like I said, I just simply don't worry about things the way I once did in my life. I just find I take everything more comfortably.
I did the same thing with LSD.
But that only lasts for a while, see?
Yeah, yeah.
Unless you do it every
I
day.
have to do it every day. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right. No,
You may miss a day, but you go back to it,
No,
right?
wait a minute. Hold on a second. Back off. Don't put down transcendental meditation and don't put down acid, okay? Because I got to tell you that I solved a lot of my psychological problems using LSD, and it lasted with me for years. It didn't last till now, as you may have noticed, but it lasted with me for years. And there was a thing on this week's. Do you ever watch HBO's? What's the sports show?
Brian
Real
Gumbel.
Brian
Sport.
Gumbel's sports show. They did a thing on these obviously sports people who were doing psychedelics to solve major problems of injuries, like brain injuries and things like that, and how it's working.
Right.
Okay. They weren't taking LSD. They found something down in Peru, and I wish I had the name of it right now. That is probably one of the most powerful drugs in the world. And this guy said, with one dose of this stuff and one trip on this stuff in the middle of the jungles, he managed to do away with his headaches and his brain injuries and his fogged mind, and so it all went away. So, I think that when we made LSD illegal in this country, okay, and we wouldn't let it be tested, we were giving up a very important psychoactive drug that could help a lot of people. I talked to psychiatrists who said with one LSD treatment, they could bypass years of psychiatry. Years. Because what LSD did was it broke down there's a block between your conscious and your subconscious. And what it did is it broke down that bridge and then allowed your subconscious to flow into your consciousness. And that they found that in one treatment, they could take care of about 3 years of psychoanalysis, but the reason they didn't want to do it is because you didn't come around for 3 years of psychoanalysis. You know, it was one like 8-hour treatment that they had to give you and stick with you, and they could probably soak you for a good buck for that. Ronnie, when she got the last round of cancer, and she knew she was going to die, went to somebody in Oregon who gave her a psilocybin session, and that helped her to cope with dying. And she says it worked. You know, it definitely worked. So, and they are using psilocybin now a lot for people who have terminal diseases and who want to deal with the act of dying. So, you know, pretty cool, huh? You know, I think it's good. But anyway, Steve, can you hear us? Okay, Steve. Steve, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you too. Yeah. So where do you live?
Okay.
Where do you live, Steve?
London, Ontario. Remember?
Oh, yes.
I told you last.
Yeah,
was it last week?
Yeah, you have to realize.
I'm in Barstow. I'm in Barstow right now.
Barstow, California.
Yeah.
Barstow.
With his truck.
Oh! Of course, Steve. Of course. Without the truck, I didn't notice you. You know, because with the truck, you've got a light on you and things like that, and I didn't recognize.
I'm
you.
in the truck.
You are in the.
I'm in the truck.
That's. Fun.
I'm in the bunk.
Oh,
We just need Todd. We need Todd to call.
You know what that looks like, though?
Yeah.
Doesn't that look like a break room? Like with the the stuff up above and everything, and the cabinets, you know, with all the cereals and stuff. Yeah, that could be a break room. Yeah. Wow. That you got a nice you got a nice outfitted truck there. That's cool. Wow. Yeah. Oh,
A TV.
You got TV set. Oh, there we are. Is that a Roku? Yeah. That's Roku. Yeah. Okay. So you got it all.
Yeah, I'm using my laptop. I just bought a laptop, so instead of using.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know why. Could be. Well, how are you getting?
The internet here sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, just join in when you feel like it. Join in, but you know, it's good to have you here. And I'm sorry I didn't recognize you without the the light on your face or there's something going on outdoors. And you looked familiar, but I couldn't figure out when. There's an interesting thing that's happened. You know, my whole thing with my union and getting insurance and them kicking us off our union insurance, and 9,000 senior members of SAG-AFTRA are going to be without coverage unless you go out and get new coverage, which we're all doing. Well, yesterday, guess what? Somebody filed a suit against SAG-AFTRA. It was a group of people, about 8 of them, led by Ed Asner, who used to be the president of SAG.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're suing them, saying there was a misuse of funds and they didn't use funds correctly, and that they never let the membership know that there was a financial problem with the medical plans and so on, that it could have been attended to 2 years ago, but they didn't do anything about it because they kept it a secret. And so they're suing them. They want them to take it and reverse the whole thing, give us our insurance back.
Wow.
I didn't know he was still alive.
Oh yeah, he's 91.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And apparently he's a pisser, man. He filed this suit along with about 6 other members. It's a class action suit, but it's a suit where if they win, we all win. So it's going to be interesting to see how the union handles this. And they're suing specific members of the union for improprieties.
Wow.
Yeah, it's if you go online to Hollywood Reporter, I think there are links to the actual pages of the suit and so on. But They finally did something about it, but it's a little too late because obviously this isn't going to be settled overnight. Yeah, I don't think because they filed yesterday. SAG-AFTRA is going to go, oh, we got to do something about this. Part of the reason they had problems with their medical problem. Here's the problem that I have with it. See, I'm AFTRA, and they're SAG, and then at a certain point, a couple of years ago, we became SAG-AFTRA. We combined the two unions. For years, we thought about combining the two unions because they had more in common than any other two unions have in common. It's just that we were television and radio, and they were films. So if you did a show on TV that was done on film, you were a member of SAG. And if you did a show on television that was on video, you were with AFTRA, which was the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. Consequently, when we combined, that caused, I think, some kind of a strain on their pension and medical thing, because ours was different. They had the gold standard when it came to union medical plans. Everybody pointed to the SAG medical plan as the best in the country. Well, when we became part of that union, we combined, we got the benefits of that. And they, years ago, had paid for it because back in 1960, the membership of SAG gave up their television residuals so those monies could be applied towards starting a pension and medical plan. And that's one of the things they're griping about. They're saying, hey, we gave up something. We gave up money. We paid into this thing, and now they took it away from us. It's a real pisser of it. And nobody's going to care about this because what are we? We're just a bunch of radio people, and we're a bunch of television people and movie people, and we're special royalty, right? We're not like a guy who, puts rivets in an iron slab or something. We're not a guy who digs a ditch and needs a union, but we need a union like anybody else.
Alex, were you compelled to belong in order to work at, say, ABC in New York?
Yeah. In those days, if you went to work at a union station, you had to join the union. But I didn't mind that at all. I could hardly wait to work a union. Before that, I had been with IBEW.
Oh, wow.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Because I worked stations where I was on the air and I ran the board and I played the music and so on. And I operated the transmitter. And so IBEW had a union for that. Mm-hmm. But once when I went to Chicago, to WIND, I had to sign up with AFTRA. Right. And I was so happy to, because to me that meant I was a professional, you know. And ever since then, no matter where I've worked, and in a lot of places I've worked, like in the Bay Area when I worked at Live 105 and KMEL and the Quake, none of them were union stations. They weren't scab stations, however. They tried to get a union in there, and the people who worked there turned the idea down. Okay, so that's legal. And really, as time has gone on, it's harder to find a radio station that's unionized. Okay.
No kidding.
Yeah. So a lot of those years that I worked, and a lot of years that I made a lot of money, I didn't. Once I left New York, I didn't work in a union station again. The only time I ever worked union work was when I did like Comedy Tonight for PBS, and when I did HBO's One Night Stands for HBO. Then I would just pull out the card. Here I am, and so that was how I used the union. But in spite of the fact that I didn't belong to the union, didn't work under the union, I kept belonging to the union. I paid my dues every 6 months. Re-upped my card for 30, 40 years.
Sure.
So I've always been very strong about being a union guy in that respect. They even screwed me over once after, because what I decided was when I was at Live 105 in San Francisco, it wasn't a union station. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to make my company a union signatory. And the reason I wanted to make a union signatory is I wanted the union in my life. And that if I did any TV shows and things like that, I would pay people union wages, you know. And so we joined it, and I was a signatory, and I was being paid by my company, given a salary, and so they signed me up to be on the medical plan for AFTRA, because they'd say it's a union. Because, see, I wasn't getting paid by the radio station. The radio station was paying my company, and then my company would pay me.
Ah.
Okay, in other words, I was an employee of my company. The company was employed by the radio station. So consequently, because I was a union organization, my salary could be applied towards, medical, pension, welfare, so on. At about 5 months in or something like that, they come to us and they go, "You can't do that. You're just using that as a ruse to be able to use the medical thing." And we said, "No, we're doing it because we want to be union. And I want to be union. And I want the protection of a union. And I want my company to be a signatory." And they went, "No way." And they said, "Forget it." They never gave us back our money. All the money we had put in for pension and welfare over that period of time.
But belonging to the union, did that in any way limit your ability to negotiate your own salary? Were there restrictions just by virtue of being in the union and having certain maybe ceilings on your ability to negotiate your own salary?
What?
In other words, you belong to a union shop at one of the stations you worked at.
Okay.
Did that limit in any way your ability when your contract was up to negotiate your own wages?
No.
It didn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But whatever I got paid, my union dues and so on were based reflected by how much more money I was making. Yeah. But no, it didn't prevent me from negotiating at all. So anyway, that's it. So I had every reason to not like my union. They pissed me off on several occasions, and nothing to do with anything that I did wrong, but some way they were playing a pissing match. Not with me, sometimes with the employer that I had, or whatever. But in spite of it, I stayed with the union. Okay, years of paying dues to a union that I didn't even work under. And so when I got to be 75, and they said, you can get, they joined SAG, and they said, you can get on the senior plan, which is like about $2,000 a year for Marjorie and I to get full medical benefits. And dental, $2,500 in dental every year. Things like that. We took it in an instant, and it was wonderful. It was a godsend. And I said, okay, all those years of paying dues and all of that when I didn't need to, I could have withdrawn at any point from the union and then gone right back in when I had some kind of union job. No, I stayed with the union. I felt it was worth it. And then all of a sudden they pull this crap on us. What they did. Here's about Ed Asner. Okay, Ed Asner was quoted as saying when they did the press releases that under the new system they have at SAG, he can't get insured. His insurance has been pulled away from him. And here's the reason why. In the past, if you got residuals, that's payment for work that you've done that's still working, like the TV show that's still running or movie that's still on video and so on, you would get residuals, and those residuals counted towards the amount of money you made every year. That counted towards whether you were eligible for the medical plan. Okay, got me? Yeah. Well, what they said when they did this whole revision was, well, you can still get your residuals, but, excuse me, you can get the residuals can't go towards how much money you made this year.
Right.
It's only work that you originally did.
Right.
Yeah. And the other part was, and this is the really great part, you cannot, if you take your AFTRA pension, you are not eligible for one of their plans or whatever. It's a whole thing where if you take the pension, and most people took pensions, I can't remember what the rule was. If you take a pension, the pension, no, the pension, it's not the pension can't be added to it. It's something about the pension, and that if you take the pension, you're not eligible for the, what do you call it, the coverage. It's strange. They did a whole bunch of crappy stuff so that a guy like Ed Asner, who his only income is residuals.
Residuals, yeah.
Right.
You know, he's not making movies anymore. His only income is residuals. He
gets a lot of income,
he
too.
can't get coverage from the union. He's been suddenly dropped by the union from a medical plan. So, you know, I mean, he probably can afford it better than the rest of us to pay for, you know, his medical insurance, but that's not the point. You know, that's not the point. We got one member of the union who, the guy that was hanging from the Statue of Liberty in Hitchcock's Saboteur and falls from the Statue of Liberty, Norman Lloyd. Guy's 105 years old. He's the oldest living actor in SAG. He doesn't have medical insurance now.
Took it away.
Yeah. So that's what they're suing about. And, you know, yeah, we're just a bunch of namby-pamby performers, you know. We don't put cars together, and we don't do roofing or anything like that. But still, we deserve to have a union too, and we deserve to have the benefits that a group of people getting together and forming a union can have, which is a medical plan.
So residuals, much like royalties, went like let's say I make a record. Every time somebody in the country plays it, I get a royalty for it. Am I right about that?
You get royalties. Well, royalties are different than
residuals.
Than residuals. Royalties are you write a piece of music and you keep making money off that music.
Okay, so now WABC plays my song.
Yeah,
I get paid a small amount for that.
What happens is somebody like WABC would every year for about a month they would have to write down everything that they played, and then that would go to let's see, ASCAP or BMI, and they would add it all up, and they then started apportioning the money out to all the composers.
I see.
That's the problem, though. A recording is played. And the only person that makes money off of it on radio are the composers.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not the performer. That's why, for instance, Lennon and McCartney were way richer than Ringo Starr or George Harrison, because all their songs they wrote, so they got paid the royalties for that. And there was a big argument, I think, within the Beatles at one point about asking John and Paul to share their royalties with the rest of the group, and I think they never did. You know, so
I always had this image of some poor son of a bitch that had to listen to the radio all day and with a tally sheet. Oh, I heard this song, I heard that song,
yeah.
And I thought, what a horrible job that must be.
That's the job that Alex makes some guy listen to the show to see if it's going to be monetized every night.
It used to be that we
That's
used to
right.
have to actually write down every song we played and who the composer was on a piece of paper.
Like a log, yeah.
Yeah, a log. Now, today, you've got all this stuff on computers, and all that stuff's on a computer, so they just do a readout and send it off to them and let them know what was played. But now residuals are another deal altogether. Who do you think I made? To this day, 30 years later, maybe something like 30 years later, I'm still making money off of. No idea.
You said it's the one with what's his name? Bill Maher, right?
Bill Maher.
Tonight.
Bill Maher.
Tonight show.
Last year I made $300 off Bill Maher.
No shit.
Yeah, just sitting on my ass here doing this show, I made $300 from Bill Maher. Because HBO still runs his One Night Stand from 30 years ago because he's with HBO.
Yeah.
And there was the time when I was making a lot more money because they were running most of the One Night Stands on HBO. I did the first season of One Night Stand, and I was the announcer at the beginning. For God, I can't tell you how many years. I was making maybe a couple $1,000 a year off of those.
Huh.
So.
But the comedians on those shows, they get paid and they get residuals, or they don't get residuals? Oh,
Sure.
really?
Oh, sure, they get residuals because they have to be union in order to work.
Okay.
In order to work it, so they had to go get themselves a card, they kept getting residuals every year, but a lot of them don't get played now. I guess because they're not considered as. But Bill Maher, they still play. So
because he's on HBO
every now and so. God bless you, Bill Maher. I can't stand you, but you sent me all this money. Yeah, $300. I made $100.
How come you can't stand him?
What? What did you say, Steve?
How come you can't stand Bill Maher? What did he do?
Okay, I'll tell you the story. All right, you want the story? So we're doing One Night Stand. Believe me, this is a grudge I've held for 30 years, okay? We're doing the One Night Stands at the Fillmore Auditorium in San Francisco. And Bill Maher has his show. He's doing one of the shows, okay? We did 12 comics a year. And then we would do 6 nights of shows with two performers a night. Maybe it was 10. We did them over 5 nights. In any event, I was hired, number one, to be a consultant because I knew San Francisco and I knew the Fillmore Auditorium, and I helped get a lot of the stuff together, just so they could do it at the Fillmore. And then they hired me to be the warm-up guy for the show. So I would go out every night and I would do about 15 minutes of warming up the audience. And what was funny about it is at the beginning of the week I went out and I didn't know what to say, and by the end of the week I had an act. It was true. So it's towards the end of the week, and I get called. So they said, Bill Maher wants to see you in his dressing room. Okay, what's this about? So I go up to his dressing room, and he says to me, you're doing the warm-up, right? And I said, yeah, I do the warm-up. He says, do you do any political jokes? I said, I do. What I do is a couple of political jokes to kind of, what you do when you're doing a warm-up is you're trying to get audience response, okay? So they can then wild track it and be able to have it in case they need to use it in the show. So I do something that makes them laugh, or I ask them to applaud, and they applaud. And so we have all those ambient effects that can be used to stitch over something. It's hard to explain. But I would do that, and I say, so I do that, and I do a couple of political jokes to kind of get people to either boo or cheer or applaud and so on. He says, don't do political. I do political. And I thought to myself, this guy's getting paid $20,000 to do this show tonight. I'm getting $500. And I looked at him, and I said, you're getting $20,000 to do this show tonight. I'm only getting $500. Follow me, motherfucker. And I left. And that's why I don't like Bill Maher. And Bill Maher was one of the most disliked comedians in Hollywood. I don't know if he still is to this day, but at that time he was, because that was exactly the reason why. He was so full of himself. So that's why I don't like Bill Maher. So hold it against me. I love holding a grudge. It's wonderful. Nursing a grudge makes my nipples hard. So. Anyway, hello, Ray Renati. How are you? Ray? Are you there, Ray?
That's what happens when you don't call anymore. You forget how to use your computers.
I want to ask Steve about something. You have a dog in the truck with you, right? Steve? Yes. Let's see the dog. Let's see the doggy. Not as cute as
Oh, here we go.
Oh. Adorable.
Oh,
Adorable. Now, if we had
Name
Adrian.
is Rocky.
Huh? What is it?
Name is Rocky.
Name is Rocky. Hello, Rocky. Woof. Woof. Yeah. Yeah. So, and you take, Rocky's been around a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 3 years old,
Oh, wow.
but he's blind.
He's blind?
Can't see.
Yeah. But they get along okay if they're blind, don't they? They have senses that they are able
Yeah,
to.
he's fine.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
bumps into the odd things every once.
Yeah. I had a blind cat once, and the cat was better at negotiating this apartment that we were in the Bay Area, much better than some of the other cats, believe it or not. I mean, you know, they don't only see with their eyes. You know.
You hear me now?
I can hear you now.
The mute button was pressed on my soundboard on that input.
Oh. You know, some people just have a little camera with a microphone on it, and they're happy with that.
I know, but well, it's because I do my podcast on here.
Yeah. So how you doing, Ray?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, you doing fine?
I got a tooth. I got my tooth in.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a hole.
I'm getting my tooth is about to be put in.
Good.
It's out being made right now as we speak.
Hey, it hurts when they put those implants.
I already
When
got
they put it, it hurts.
I
I
got-
had it yesterday.
What do you mean? You got when they put the implant in?
Well, I had to get, the tooth broke and they took it out.
Yeah.
And that didn't hurt much, and then they like put the metal with the bone and the metal, and then that didn't hurt much. But the last day when they actually attached the tooth and they had to like drill the gum away that grew over, and then that hurt hell.
Well, they've already done that. You had about 2 months with that thing sitting in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they did that, and then they sewed it up.
Yeah, right. But have you got the real tooth yet?
No,
Have you?
No.
That's what hurts.
no. I've had it before. It didn't hurt me.
I guess
all he's got to do is he's got a plug in there right now,
Yeah.
and he undoes the plug, and then he puts in the post, and then he just puts the tooth on.
I don't know. For
I
some
don't know
reason, it
how-
hurt like hell. I mean, I've had 3 of them. Maybe it was just this one for some reason.
I've had this is my third one.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
All these 3 front teeth are all.
but I got really mad at my dentist yesterday. They always do this thing about you gotta have your teeth clean. You haven't been come in for cleaning.
Yeah.
And they say, of course, you're just a tartar factory. You've got to come in every 3 months, and your insurance only pays for every 6 months.
Yeah.
So you're paying for those 2 a year. So I try to not go in more than twice a year. Well, anyways, you got to come in and get your teeth clean.
I know.
Well, I get it. I'm supposed to go on the 22nd, right, and get my teeth clean. But I'm supposed to get the implant permanently put in a week before that. I get a call from my dentist receptionist. Your dentist wants you to come in and get your teeth cleaned earlier than the 22nd. I said, it's fine with me. Why don't we do it the same day that I'm going in to get the tooth put in? I'll go have the teeth cleaned right after that, and it will be fine. She says, fine. And she put me in. I'm at 12 o'clock for the tooth, cleaning teeth, 1 o'clock. Okay. And that's great. Saves me one car ride up and down. About $70. Now I get a call from her. She'd like you to come in on the 8th and do it. Now what she wants to do is probably do it on the 8th so she can they can clean that area before I do this. Well, the hell with it. You can clean it afterwards. You still get in there and dig around anyway. And I just said, look, I said, do you realize there's a COVID thing going on out there? And do you realize it's not getting any better? And do you realize that every time I get into a car and come down to see you, I'm taking my life in my hands? I said, I prefer not to have to take my life in my hands too much. I'm not coming in next Tuesday. We'll do it like we planned it. I don't know what's with my dentist. It's like they're mining for gold.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
and
go
you've
to
got
training.
Huh?
They go to marketing training now.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, like what you just said is the exact same words they said to me yesterday. Oh, the doctor wants you to come in for cleaning, blah, blah. Like he even looked at the thing. It's just their standard thing, and they say that he wants you to do it.
Well, she says, we should do some X-rays on you. We haven't done an X-rays in a year. I said, yeah, but you've been in my mouth many times during the last year, so you can see if there's something wrong. Because she's always saying, "Oh, that's a little wrong, and this is a little wrong, and blah 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 blah," And all I know is that what are X-rays for? What is the prime purpose of X-rays?
To confirm what they already know.
No, but more than that.
To make money.
To make money. It's like mining for gold. Oh, we found a little thing here, and we found a little thing here, and I'm going to go, hey, I'm not paying for any of it. Wait till next year when the insurance is back, and, I got very mad about this because God knows I probably spent $400 on cabs going back and forth to this dentist for just this. You know how many times you had to go to the dentist to get this thing completed, right, Ray?
Oh, yeah, it's just unending.
And I didn't want to do any more. And now that we've got this going on, I don't even want to go down there, But I know I've got to because I've got to finish this thing off. But I mean, the less I have to go down there, the better. And I just told her, hey, I'm a COVID case waiting to happen. So let's just, I will come down. I will do that one day, and that's it. And I don't want to see you for the rest of the year. I don't want to see you till I get that shot in my arm. Okay? Yeah. So.
Ray, what are you doing right now? Are you no acting, right? No theater or anything going on? So.
I've done I've directed 3 plays on Zoom.
Really?
I've been in 3 things on Zoom. It just sucks. I'm trying to get an agent in LA so I can audition for some commercials and stuff. So I'm going to be sending my reel, and it's because I didn't realize it, but now it's actually better if you live up here because you used to have to go down there and audition, and they didn't even want to get you to come down there because of hassle. But now everyone's doing self-tape, so they don't care where you are. And then if they shoot it down there, you got plenty of notice. But most of them aren't even having to go down there. They send you kits. Like if you watch a lot of the commercials now, you can see there's like a green screen and a fake grocery store behind people and stuff.
Yeah.
And so you do it in your own house. Like they send you a kit with the lighting and the green screen and everything, and then you shoot it like the director's watching you.
Is that a green screen behind you?
Yeah, and then you send it to them, and they put it all together and make it look like people are in the same store and all this shit, and they're like in different cities.
Well, you have to really take your hat off to the ingenuity that America has come up with during the COVID crisis to overcome this kind of thing. You know. And the lessons that are being learned are kind of interesting. Right now, they say that rental property for offices in New York, you can get for a dime. Because people are moving out of offices and they're not going back because they find that they can have their people working from home and it's working just as well,
And there's less traffic and the air is cleaner and it's quieter.
Yeah.
There's animals around again.
The animals are going back into cities now.
Yes.
But what I'm getting sick of is we had a story here in New York today about this, I guess this bar out in Queens or something that just had, maybe Brooklyn, had a ton of people in it. And then when the cops came and said, shut this down, you can't do this, they said, no, we're an autonomous zone. They had a big sign that said autonomous zone. I don't know even what autonomous zone means, and the guy wouldn't close down. So they issued him massive amounts of tickets. And the next day, the owner of the place came by with his lawyer and finally agreed that he would close the place down. What are they thinking? And today I read, you'll be happy. Good news is, these, what is it, the Supermax, the planes, the Max planes that weren't, that were crashing everywhere. Remember those? Yeah. Well, they're flying again. And they did their first run today as a demo. and they showed the inside of the plane, and it's packed with reporters without masks on. And I'm going, really? Do you want it? Number one, we know these things crash. Okay, so you're taking that chance, but you're even taking a worse chance by, you know. I don't understand people. I mean, as I said last night, if I were an airline, even if it meant that I was going to go out of business, I would not be flying my planes right now. I would not be encouraging that behavior. Oh, it's cleaner in here than it is out there. Yeah. All you need is one infected person sitting there who takes his mask off for a minute or so, and, you know, you're in a hermetically sealed petri dish. So, I mean, why don't these people say, okay, we're going to stop this thing. We're going to nip it in the bud. Oh, no, we're waiting for the vaccine to come along. That's going to be another clusterfuck. Because, and Cuomo put it pretty right when he said, do you know how many people we have done testing on over the last 8 months? Probably in this country, something close to 100,000 people. About 10 million people or something like that. He said, do you know how many shots we're going to have to give?
Yeah.
300 million doubled because you got to give a second shot. He said, if we couldn't do the swabs, which are simple, stick a Q-tip up your nose and then, you know, send it off to the lab, we couldn't do that many. Well, how many are we going to be able to do now? Secondly, 80 to 85% of the people in this country have to have the shot before we get some kind of immunity in this country.
Yeah.
He said, with the resistance right now to it, you're going to be lucky if you get 80 to 85%. You'll be lucky if you get 50%. You know, like, let me ask you guys, how many of you, if offered the vaccine tomorrow, would take it? You wouldn't, Brian. Interesting.
I'll wait to see what happens to you.
Yeah, I'll wait to see what happens to you.
But also remember, these are private companies. they have filed over in Europe also.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all these millions that they say that they've built, that they've made the vaccine for, they're not all for U.S.
No, and
they're already qualified, or already validated for that. They're releasing them over there.
Well, England has said start giving the shots.
Yeah,
they've already approved it.
Yeah, and they started, and they threw up numbers. I was driving and listening to CNN, and they're throwing up numbers of the first phase of people, and they were talking like 20 something million people or something like that. And they were talking about how many they have right now ready. And when Trump and those guys were saying there was 100 million already ready for them, those numbers are exaggerated for what they really have.
But the hard part is going to be to convince people to take it. Now, why wouldn't you take it? You'd wait for me to take it, you say.
I'm fine.
You didn't raise your hand either, Steve. Would you take it, Steve? Oh, we lost Steve's picture. Oh.
I'm fine with shelter in place for a little while. I know there's more important people than me right now to take it, so that's why not that I wouldn't take it, but
we're in the third wave. We're after hospital workers, and then hospital workers in nursing homes, and then people in nursing homes, and then it's everybody over 80, which means Marjorie can't get hers. But no, I think it'll be like 75 plus here in New York State. But I mean,
our company's going to fight for us to be essential workers. So we are, but
yeah,
they're trying to get in the mix already. We've been asking about it already about that.
Yeah, but you're not working directly with infected people.
No, but if our company has an infection, the testing will stop.
Yeah.
So that's the importance for us.
Well, I think I'd take it immediately because what I know about the drug is, what I know about the vaccine is, it's not COVID. It's not even what we used to do, which is like a killed virus. It isn't even a virus. It's something that deals with the chromosome, with the actual COVID itself and the way it interacts with it. It's not an antibody, but it's a mutation of some sort. It doesn't. There's no way it's going to hurt you. You know, the worst it's going to do is it's not going to work. You know, and then you go out without a mask thinking I'm immune. You know. Yes, Ray.
Hey, Brian, is it true there's another vaccine, the Oxford vaccine, I think they call it?
Yeah.
Have you heard about this, where you only need one shot, but it's and it doesn't have to be refrigerated?
Yeah.
But I think it's only 70% effective, but that's still pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd rather have it be 95%.
Well, I was
effective.
thinking maybe that one for Africa
And-
and places like that where they won't be able to keep the refrigeration.
Yeah, they say that they correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but they say about the 95% effectiveness. It could well be 100, but they're only stating 95. You know.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeff. Oh, turn on your microphone, Jeff. Otherwise, yell really loud from Connecticut.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
I can hear you now. Can you hear me now?
I think, the doctors and the nurses are going to be the first group.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be the people, the real older people in the, what is that called? Where they
Nursing homes.
stayed in the same,
The old folks' homes?
the folks home. Those are
Yeah,
very
yeah.
dangerous. So those will be the next.
You finding it hard at your age to say old folks? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Anyway, and then there'll be people like Alex and myself,
Mm-hmm.
with
What, guys with gray beards?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
it's age is part of it, but the other part is if you have some kind of biomedical issue.
Yeah.
Not to the cancer.
I'm going to be 81 in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
81.
God.
Hey, let's not let the
I remember
show
when
go
you were
by.
41.
Marron.
Oh,
Yeah,
bullshit.
same here. I remember he's 41.
Yes, Robert, what were you saying?
Let's not let the show go by without at least mentioning the video you played of that sociopath talking about.
Is that
the
not a...
election.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's about as close to treason, I think, as anybody in their lifetime has seen. And by the way, Flynn today calls for martial law.
Called for martial law?
Yes.
He's a
Michael
QAnon guy,
Flynn calls for martial law.
Well, I call for Marshall Dillon, but yeah.
There you go.
No, but martial law. Wow.
Yeah.
No,
a big
but
QAnon guy.
I saw that thing with Trump, and I said I had to play at least 5 minutes of it here because the man is insane.
It's
He's
unbelievable.
crazy. This
is
is
insane.
crazy stuff now. This is a man who is just so obsessed with having lost, and he can't stand the idea that he lost, and it was robbed from him, and it was stolen from him.
They showed one of his attorneys today who claimed that if it was done legitimately, Trump would have won California. I swear, the guy's last name is Lin, L-I-N. Look it up.
Oh, listen, just go over to Newsmax if you want that kind of stuff. It's going on 24/7. It's all a big plot. And I keep listening, hoping that I will hear something that I can be suspect about. Okay, so that maybe I can give Trump a little bit of the credit that maybe there's some hanky-panky went on. And I'm sure some hanky-panky went on. I just am not sure that it was the Democrats who were doing it.
But the votes for him were all legit. That's the part that cracks me up.
And he doesn't want to recount any state where he won.
No, no, not at all.
And there was only cheating in the states where it was closed.
Charlie's been quiet tonight. Charlie, what are your thoughts on it? You saw a little bit of that Trump tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's a crazy sociopath. He's been crazy the whole time he's been president.
But why is it that 70 million people in this country don't see that?
Well, I watched like Fox yesterday, for instance, Lou Dobbs and those people. I watched Lou Dobbs. I mean, if that's the kind of thing you're watching all the time, and it just goes around your brain, and you choose to watch that, that's what you're going to start believing is true.
Well, but we have to say that on the left, we're just as bad. We ensconce ourselves in MSNBC.
I never.
It got so bad tonight.
Never.
With them just constantly going on the same story over and over and over and over and over again, that I told Marjorie, I said, enough of this, and I went in the other room and just laid down. I didn't want to even see it. I was just so tired.
But
I don't get that station.
It's I think it's a false equivalency to say that MSNBC says this and Newsmax says that, when on MSNBC side you have the Wall Street Journal, just about every major newspaper in America, every pundit from here to California saying that Biden won, it's over, let's move on. And only Newsmax and Fox clinging to this stupid notion.
Oh, don't forget OAN. Don't forget OAN.
It's not a toss-up.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you that it's not a toss-up, but still we do ensconce ourselves in a womb of comfort politically. And ours happens to be MSNBC because they're saying what we want to hear. I will go over to Newsmax, as insane as they are, and listen to what they have to say so I can at least understand what they think.
Show me some proof. Please.
There's no proof. There's no proof. There's no proof.
End of story.
And I wish there was.
How can Trump think he's popular with everybody when he hasn't done one thing to benefit the average person?
Look.
In those 4 years.
Trump is popular. Let me.
I know he's popular, but
he's popular because he got 70 million votes. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary that there are 70 million people out there who would vote for Donald Trump, considering what Donald Trump is and what he says and how he handles himself and comports himself. But today, endless stories about who's he going to pardon. He's going to pardon the kids, right? He's going to pardon the what's his name? Giuliani. And I'm going, every president who leaves office pardons people, and there's always complaints about who they pardoned. I think even Obama had complaints because I think who did Mark Rich? Do you remember this Mark Rich or something? And I think maybe that was Clinton. He went crazy over that one. But it happens. But they're just belaboring it. And I'm going, come on, enough is enough already. What are you trying to do? Tap dance till the inauguration because you got nothing else to do? Yeah. Go ahead. Let's talk a little more about the COVID thing, and let's talk about a lot of the other news that's happening that's important. This stuff is trivial now because you just got a nutcase ranting and raving till he gets kicked out of the White House. I wonder if he started packing yet. Anyway. Hey, Jeff, thank you. Good having you here. And thanks to Charlie. Good to have you here, Charlie. And, of course, Brian, always a pleasure. Robert Natali, love having you here. Ray Renati, good to see you here. Call us more often. Thank
you.
And Steve, thank you. Call us anytime you want to. We love your dog, among other things. But everybody, why don't you give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye back at you, and we'll call it a night. Okay, bye. Okay, there they go. That's the citizen panel. They're through here. There's a new citizen panel right after me with Jack Bishop and the Intersection, which is next over most of the same Gabnet. He uses Skype, and he uses the Skype address of Gabnet Live. Okay, so you just do the Gabnet Live deal, and you're good to go with Jack Bishop and the Intersection. Next, over most of the same Gabnet. We'll be back again tomorrow night. We're here at 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Not Eastern Time, excuse me. Eastern Time. And we'll be here again tomorrow night, 10:30. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, do yourself a favor. Be careful out there and wear a mask. All right. Good night, everybody.